Hey, what's up guys? This is Chris from VFXOn and welcome to the second part of exploding text intro. So let's import our images that we rendered from Cinema 4D. Well, I hope you did render. So let's go to import multiple files. And just click the first image you have and make sure it is JPEG or whatever format you had, sequence, and click import. And I'm gonna click done. So now we have all of our images imported, and I'm gonna just drag it into a new comp, this icon right here, and it creates a new comp automatically. So first what we need is that light, that explosion light. Right click new solid, and let's just call it OF optical flares, black background, okay, and okay. Okay, so now we need an effect called optical flares. Drag that on, go to options, presets, light, and which one was it? Sun digital. Click OK. Render mode on transparent. Move this to and set it to 3D. Source type to 3D. Check these for motion blur and 3D. Move it somewhere in the middle right there, and what we want to do is we want this to look like an explosion, sort of like not just like a sun, but like the flames, not, I don't know, like the brightness from the explosion. That's what we want it to look like. Okay, so now let's just drag this to about like here, and let's just cut this to here, this layer, just make it shorter. So yeah, and what I wanted to do is basically like go from like this small to just like pass through, like go behind the camera, you see, sort of like pass through. That's what I want it to do. Let's just change settings, so 1005 here for position X and Y, and this to 568, position Z to 23,790, so that it's way up here. And then let's move 4 frames forward using page down on your keyboard, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and set a keyframe for position Z. Oh, also let's change center position to -224, and this to 658. So that way this is here. Now let's move to frame 10, and let's set the keyframe for brightness and set it to 3.4. Okay, now let's move 4 frames forward, 1, 2, 3, 4, and move forward till the point where you can see your text zoom, where you can actually see something else than just black. Okay, that you can see something like other text or parts of your other parts of your logo. And at this point, set a keyframe for scale. I think that anyways you will have to adjust these keyframes, move it around, or you know, just like adjust for your intro. Now let's move 8 frames forward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's set the scale to 270. Now let's move 3 frames forward, 1, 2, 3. And let's set the scale to 150 and brightness to 56. Now let's move 5 frames forward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's set the position Z to -2,790. Now 6 frames forward, and set the brightness to 27. Okay, and if we take a look, okay, first off, I don't like the position. That's the first thing. So I will need to change the position of this. Okay, so let's take a look. I think that the position is a bit off. Actually, it is gonna stay where it is. So another thing what I don't like, we need to change a few things here. So let's right click, easy ease, just control click this one, right click, easy actually now easy in, and also easy in, and these one just easy ease. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the brightness. Let's see. Or no, I'm just gonna select the position keyframes and go to graph editor. Here you can see if I adjust the graph and everything, it gives you a different. I think that looks good. Okay. Maybe a bit too quick, like just like tiny bit too quick. So let's try to move this further out. Or not, I don't know. I like this sort of like that there is this part. So I'm gonna copy this keyframe and paste it in here so that there is more of like just like light in the screen. And then at this point I'm gonna make a keyframe or like here and just make it scale out, something like this. Let's see. Yeah, I like that. This is not how I did it in the original one. So just like try something to make it look something like this. Like using this, what I have here with the keyframes should give you the effect you need. If you just want to, if you need, just move it around to find the specific time. For me, I think that the explosion should happen a bit earlier. So I'm gonna drag that a bit to the start, like. And I think that all of this should be here. Let's see how that looks. Okay, there's some sort of delay right here. Like it is like stuck here for some reason. I don't know why. See, like it goes and it's just like stuck. Nothing like happens for some time. So I'm gonna go and change its position so that there is actually something happening. So it's just not just like sitting there. Let's see about this. Yeah, I like this. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, the first things I did with the keyframes, those were the original positions for the keyframes, but as you saw, I could not remember how I put them together, like at what position they were, so I had to readjust a few things here. So, just try to make it look like an explosion. So, as I said, from these keyframes, what you have here, you can make it, and it's not that hard. But if you can, you can just ask me and I'll give you the download link for this template. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so now we need a shockwave that's gonna go behind here, and I imported my Shockwave After Effects project that I had from a previous tutorial in which I show you how to make that shockwave. I adjusted these a bit, and yeah, so I'm gonna use these. I'm not gonna show you how to make the Shockwave because this tutorial is long enough as it is. And yeah, if you want these, contact me and I will give you the download link for them. So yeah, let's just actually let's move them to, let's close this and let's move them to here. And for now I'm just gonna turn off these. And let's make them add motion blur, toggle switch, and set them both to screen and screen. And we'll need an effect called tint. Drop that on, and we'll change the color to this. Copy this effect and paste it onto this one. So I have two different versions of the Shockwaves. So yeah, and I think where should they start? They should start somewhere like here. So I'm just gonna take them and move them to here, or maybe like here. Okay, and let's see. Well, they're not really in the middle, so I'm gonna take them and move them to here. Let's see how that looks. Obviously, well, it looks like those old like stamps on the mail. I don't remember how they're called, but some looks like that. I don't remember what they're called. Okay, after googling for a while, I found out what I meant. The wax stamps. That's what they remind me of. Just I don't know why I googled that. Anyways, let's move on with this. Okay, so we will need to set opacity. So set a keyframe for opacity and set it to 0. Let's go, I don't know, like how many? Like let's go 10 frames forward and set it to 100. Copy this and paste it into this one also. So let's see. I would say that that's good. The only issue is maybe I needed to drag a bit like to here. And the only issue is with this one. This object right here. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a mask and try to mask it out frame by frame. That's gonna take a while, so yeah. Well, actually no, I'm not gonna do that because this is just a tutorial. I'm not gonna render this out, but if I would definitely take a mask. I would take a mask like that, and I would just simply frame by frame mask it out. That's what I would do. And if you want to do that, also make sure you set a bit of feather to it. Not much, just a bit. Okay, and I'm gonna turn this one off. So, and if you want to do that, then just set mask path, move frame forward, and adjust the path. Okay, why is nothing happening? Sorry, I just adjust it like that, and frame by frame. That's a lot of work, but you know, if you really need to do that, then you know that's the best looking effect there. Okay, but like I said, because this is only a tutorial, I'm showing how I got that looking effect. I'm not really gonna do that. So this looks good to my eye at least. Okay, and now let's create another new solid. Let's call this particle. Okay, and we will need in particles. So which one did I use? I don't remember. Let's add all. I don't remember which one I used. Let's see, definitely not particle system. Definitely not that. Not that. Yeah, it was particular. Emitter type from point to box. Velocity to 340. Velocity random to 41. Velocity distribution 1.3. Let's go with that. Emitter size X, let's set it 36. Y 14, and Z to, I don't know, like something crazy to like, I don't know, like something like that. Yeah, let's go with that. Now let's open up particle. And let's change particle type from sphere to streaklet. And streaklet feather, let's set that to 0. Size to 8. Size random to 25. Opacity random to 35. And colors over light. Okay, so click and just drag it out. Oops, like that. That and like that. And now let's click to add a color. Double click, and we will use let's go with, let's see, something like this, but like something like that. Okay. Let's do the same for here. Just drag it to here. Okay, now go to physics. That same air. Spin amplitude to 7. Spin frequency to 3. Turbulence field. Okay, close that down. Now we can start adding some keyframes. Let's go to about like here and set a keyframe for wind, Z. And now let's move about 4 frames forward. And let's set the keyframe for emitter size X and emitter size Y. Now about 1, 2, 3 frames forward, and set a keyframe for particles per second and set it to 0. Now 1 frame forward and set the wind Z to minus 4,435. Now we can press U on our keyboard to see the keyframes. Now about 2 frames forward and set the particles per second to 150. And now just move like, I don't know, somewhere like here. Set the emitter size X to 104. Emitter size Y to 983. Now let's move and close this down. Close this down. Now make sure you hit the motion blur button for it. And now we need a new adjustment layer. And I'm gonna call it color correction. What's going on? And we need an effect called curves. Drag that on. We also need vibrance and color balance. Okay, I'm gonna go one by one, and you know, for these ones you don't have to go exactly as I'm going. You don't have to use these effects. You can use any other color correction effects, you know, or you don't. If you don't want to use any color correction effects, then just don't. So I will edit my version of how I want these to look, and then I will show you how it is. Okay, so these are my settings for color balance. Here you can just pause. And for curves, RGB is here. As you can see, and red here, and green, blue, and alpha. Okay, so again, you don't have to use the same effects. If you want to, you know, go ahead and make sure. I'm not going to turn on the motion blur just yet. Actually, I am, because this is kind of going to an end of the tutorial. So let's just turn on motion blur. And the reason why I added particles is because I sort of think that it looks a bit better to have sort of like more things flying into the camera and everything. So I don't know, you know, you can just turn them off if you don't want to. I sort of like them, so I'm gonna keep them. And now let's go back to our project and drag this number 1 into a new composition. And composition settings, and I'm just gonna rename this to main. Alright, so now we need an effect called optics compensation. turbulent displace CC flow motion, spherize CC lens, RGB displacement, and CC griddler. A lot of effects. So I'm gonna turn off all of them except for the optics compensation, and I'm just gonna do keyframes for every single of them. But right now I'm gonna do this and that and that and that, so in order. So first off, optics compensation, click reverse lens distortion. Let's go to like, I don't know, frame 15, and let's set a keyframe for field of view. Let's go to like somewhere like, I don't know, here. And let's set the field of view to 109. And then just go again forward somewhere like here and set that to 0. Okay, now let's turn on turbulent displace. Evolution, let's set that to 35. So press U on our keyboard, and again at the same position here at frame 15, set amount to 0. Keyframe for it. Now let's go to here and set it to 39. And then just go like to pretty much go to end and set it back to 0. Okay, again press U to see all of our keyframes. Now we can go to CC flow motion, and let's set this position to 1104, and this to 836, and this to 1292, and this to 446, and fall off to 1.470. And anti-aliasing, set that to high, and we can also set here to high. Let's go to like here and set amount keyframe to 0. Then let's move to frame 25 and let's set it to 17. Then let's go to about here and set it back to 0. Now let's turn on spherize, and let's go to here and set a keyframe. Then go to 24th frame and set it to 1281. Now let's go to about here and set it to 0. Now let's close this, turn on CC lens, and let's set a keyframe here for size to 500. Then let's go to here and set it to 139. Then let's go again forward to somewhere here, set it back to 500 and set a keyframe here. Then go to about like here and set this convert, I can't pronounce that, to 0. Okay, close that down. Now RGB split, preset to color split, and displacement source is set this to the comp, which is in my case comp name 1. Now open channel displacement red to 0.35, and I mean you can adjust it, you know. I'm gonna go with 35. You see, you can just like change settings here. Okay, let's go to frame 25 and let's set all of these to 0 and 0 and set a keyframe. Then go 3 frames forward and set them all to 1. Now let's go to about like here and press U actually on your keyboard, see these keyframes, and set another, basically copy these keyframes. Then go 2 frames forward and set them back to 0. Then again a bit forward to like here, and same thing again, set these 2 frames forward set them to 1, 1, 2, back to 0, and basically just make look like it's glitching or something like that. So I'll be back when I'm done with that. Okay, so I'm done with my keyframes here. Okay, so I'm done with my keyframes here. It just looks like it's glitching. Now we can close it down, open Gridler, set tile size to 1. So turn that on and go to almost to like an end, not like quite to end, but like, I don't know, somewhere here. And set a keyframe for these. And go again 2 frames forward. And set the horizontal scale to 300 and vertical scale to 70. Actually, the previous also gives a cool look. I'm gonna go actually with this. I kind of like this more than the original one. So, and pretty much the same drill. 2 frames forward, set it back to 100 and 100, and another 2 frames, or like, let's go, yeah, frame forward. Then, I don't know, 1 frame forward. Oh, it's the end. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and move it a bit backwards so it starts glitching faster. So 1 frame forward, set it to like, I don't know, let's go at 400. 2 frames forward, set it back to 100. 1 frame forward and set it like, I don't know, to something like 600. Just gonna, again, drag it a bit backwards. Okay, and let's see how that looks all together. Okay, so this is how it looks. I think it looks pretty cool, to be honest. It is a lot of work, but the end result is really, really awesome. Like, it is unique looking intro. So anyways, guys, that's it for this tutorial. It took quite a long time, but yeah, so please give this video a thumbs up because it took so long to make. Like, honestly, it took really long to make. And currently, what time is it? It is 4 in the morning. How awesome is that? I gotta go to sleep. So yeah, guys, give this video a thumbs up. Please make sure you subscribe, share this video, tell your friends about it, and if you want this template, which includes the After Effects template, the Cinema 4D files, the sound effects, and the Shockwave pre-rendered, then just message me and I will give you a download link. So yeah, like I said, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.